Hey YouTube, we are 1 week into the new season of GBL, and what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to do three things. First, I'm just going to go over what is the meta. I've kind of already thought what I already put out what I thought was going to be the meta, and I'm pretty close to what it is. So we're going to go over exactly what I think it's going to be. I'm usually pretty accurate in these things in terms of the meta. The second thing I will do is I'm going to do what I believe are overranked and underranked Pokemon. Now, these are my personal opinions, and I know some of you will not agree with them. That's fine. I will give you my opinion on what is overranked and underranked and why. Again, feel free to disagree in the comments below. And then the third thing, we'll read some of your comments from yesterday morning's video where some of you thought about overrated and underrated Pokemon. Okay, so when I first put out, before the season started, I said this will be this is what's going to be meta, and I said Ghost, Water, Ground will be meta, and then Dark and Fairy will be counter meta. And I'm not really going to change my mind a ton on that. I'm actually going to downgrade based on the first week. Again, first week is everyone's trying everything out. You get a lot of random Pokemon, stuff like that. I'm actually going to downgrade Dark. Sorry, not Dark. I'm going to downgrade Ground. I don't think you're going to see as many grounds in the meta as you previously did, and that is just the state of the meta. So right here, and I've got a Word document that I've opened up because I actually wrote some stuff down in this video. I said the meta will be Ghost, Water, Dark plus Staples. Okay, so what does that mean? Ghost, Water, Dark, and Staples. So Ghost is the obviously huge winner of this season. A bunch of Pokemon got buffed with Hex, Dynamic Punch. Foul Play, I think, is a nerf. We'll talk about that in the overranked, underranked. But rising in the rankings with the Foul Play, I think Dazzling Gleam has a bigger part of that, quite honestly. Spirit Tomb, Rock Tomb got buffed. So a bunch of your Ghost Pokemon, this is almost looking like a Water. This is what you usually see with the Water meta, right? How there's always like 15, 20 Pokemon in the top, like 50 in Water. All of a sudden, Sableye, Corsola, Dusclops, Dusknoir, Jellicent, repeats there. Annihilate, Golurk, Spiritomb, Drifblim, Marowak, Golurk, Renorigus, Annihilate. A lot of Pokemon in the top 75 there that are Ghost. I think that Ghost has a few things going for it. I think that, one, a bunch of them just got buffed, straight up buffed. So that is a strength in itself. But the second thing is, one of the biggest problems to Ghost is going to be your normal typings. And your normal typings got nerfed because all the rollout users got nerfed. So you still have a couple normal typings in Diggersby, Ferret, and Wiggly here. But Lickitung with the Body Slam got nerfed previously, 86. Linoon actually lost Trailblaze before the season started, so it's down here. And then your rollout users, Dunsparce and Licky down at 98 and 105 here. So when you have Ghost being double resisted by normal typings, and now your normal typings are showing less, they're showing up less, that makes I think Ghost an easy one to use. So I think Ghost will be everywhere. I'll go to Water. Well, actually, let's just go to Dark. Because Ghost will be everywhere, Dark's going to be everywhere. And you have a very strong contingent of Dark Pokemon on this list here. Mandibuzz, Malamar, Sableye, Morpeko, Pangoros, Guzzlord, Drapion, Moltres. Then we get down here is okay. There's a couple of Pokemon on this list that I think are going to be extreme core breakers here, and I'll go over that in my underranked soon. I really think that Dark is going to have a lot of play. You obviously, just with so many Ghosts and less normal typing, I just think that Dark is going to rise. Yeah, obviously there's Fairy, and again, when I put it out initially, you got to watch out for the counter meta. I've used a couple of these Pokemon. Weezing is definitely strong, but it does not run a Fairy type charge move, right? It runs Brutal Swing, which you resist, and Sludge. So yes, it's a Fairy there, but you just need to worry out for the fast move. And then Carbank's barely used at all. And then Azumarill, Togetic, I think should be out there. Clefable, not so much. And then you got your couple Charmers and Wiggly and Darkspun, right? So I think that there's an okay amount of fairies, but there's not like a ton of like charm and fairy users that you need to worry out for. So that's why I think Dark's going to get a rise. And Water, stupid Niantic. Like, Water's been meta since season 1, And people argue that it's just like it's the defensive stat and that will lead itself well to Pokemon Go, which I agree. I've talked about this constantly, how like grass and fire and bug and stuff and electric just get crapped on in GBL because of their sort of base stat product compared to stuff like water. So you think they would try and offset that by not buffing up a bunch of these Pokemon, but they buffed Lapras with Psywave, they buffed Jellicent with Hex, they buffed Golisopod with Aqua Jet, Blastoise with Rollout. So now they just like, hey, you know what this meta needs? More water Pokemon. So very much so you will see a ton of these water Pokemon in the main meta. So those are the main 3 typings, in my opinion, that you will just see a lot of. And then I said staples. So like I've seen a touch of like I expect a lot of these other top ranked Pokemon to see a lot of Clodsire, Grumpig, or Pekko goes in the dark. Diggersby is a normal typing. Claydol, even though I don't love it, I think it's good enough to play. Jumpluff. So I think it's just going to be like those 3 plus some of the top ranked Pokemon in all these typings. So what you could do is just like search different typings and just try and figure out what you think the main is. So electric, like I tried using Togedemaru. There's no point in using Togedemaru when you have Morpeko. So I like for electric, I'd say like Morpeko, Emolga, and maybe Stunfisk. Those 3 will probably be in the meta. If you go to like Bug, Golisopod, and then Bug's so bad. But Charjabug, someone mentioned, we'll look at the comment. I think it's in the comment there. Someone says Charjabug is going to be, I think it's Apex, said that Charjabug will be a nice answer to the meta now. Because I think ground is going to be slightly lowered. I didn't love Claydol. I think Clodsire with the Poison Sting with so many ghosts now, Poison Sting gets a slight nerf. That's why I think Clodsire is maybe a bit overranked. Not by much, but I think it's slightly overranked. So yeah, I think there'll be like 3 to 4 of the top meta of everything, and then a crap ton of dark, ghost, and water typing. So that is my prediction for the meta. So now we got to go to overranked and underranked. And let's start with a positive. Let's start with the underranked Pokemon. So the first one I have on my list is Guzzlord. And Guzzlord was already, if you watch my last season, when I was trying to push to Legend, I mentioned how Guzzlord is underranked already last season, being like, it resists electric, it resists water, it resists fire, it resists grass, it resists like so many things that you can just put a wall to in the main meta here. And now, oh yeah, you double resist Psychic, which a bunch of these Pokemon just got Psywave. Water got buffed, so you resist that. Grass is going to come out. Ghost got buffed, you're going to resist that. Fire, electric, and dark. So, hello, that is basically the meta I just talked about. So between that and just having like your crazy high stamina, again, your defense is terrible, but your stamina is decent. And then offset with like Dragon Tail, Brutal Swing, and Sludge Bomb, just coverage and being able to spam and decent, not amazing Brutal Swing, but okay chip there. I just think that being able to do that many typing resistances gives you a huge advantage. And again, there's some fighters and fairies and stuff, but like not enough to offset what is the main meta there. So I think Guzzlord is going to be number 1. Drapion, I continue to see it as a safe swap. It dropped to 61 as the shadow and 78 as the non-shadow. I don't truly understand it, especially as a dark poison. The dark being able to, as a dark Pokemon, being able to resist the ghost, have the crunch for the ghost, and also being able just to chip in neutral situations against other darks with Poison Stings, Aqua Tail. And then just your spamminess, and nothing else has changed in terms of your moveset or anything. So I think that the spamminess and the flexibility of Drapion is just so strong still. So I do not know why it's dropped to number 61 in my opinion. I expect you will still see a heavy dose of this Pokemon there. Superior is the one that like actually really confuses me, because it is ranked 63. And again, when you can get to Frenzy Plant, when you have this bulk, 143 defense, 128 stamina, 2000 overall, with a Frenzy Plant that you get to in 6, 6, and 5, that does 120 damage. So 120 damage when you do moves in 12, 12, and 10 is insane with your bulk. And then it's neutral to like everything that I mentioned, it like Dark and Ghost, it's neutral to that and super effective against water. And then when you look at it, it's like, if you try and build like top teams and you go against some like the main meta, Like your record is 27-19 in the main meta. So obviously you're gonna lose to the ones you're supposed to lose to: ice, flying, bug, poison. Like those are ones that are gonna beat you. You're gonna beat the ones you're supposed to beat. All the water Pokemon you're gonna destroy. And then it's the neutral matchups where you love to see it, right? You're gonna beat Corsola. You're gonna beat Credilli. You're gonna beat Grumpig. You're gonna beat Dunsparce. You're gonna beat Annihilate, Diggersby. I mean Diggersby is weak to you, but just a bunch of just neutral matchups that you win, and even some of the losses like Malamar is 496, like that's pretty close. Dusclops has Ice Punch, so that's kind of unfortunate, but and then these are the ones you're gonna like Flyer and Poison and stuff you're gonna lose to anyways. It just has so much play against the main meta, so I'm really surprised that it is ranked so low. So Superior should be if it's not like Jumpluff, Credilli, Superior, those are the three grass that I would use. And I think honestly, I think all three of them are going to be very strong. I think Jumpluff and Credilli are ranked appropriately. I think Superior should be way higher, like top 40 Pokemon, in my opinion. And then two more, Dugong. So here's the thing with Dugong and why I think it's dropped to number 90. Why would you use Dugong when you have Lapras, right? Quicker to the moves. Psywave is an incredible move. And Sparkling Aria is a actual dominant move as well. So there's really no point to run Dugong if you have Lapras, in my opinion. That being said, just because you're running Lapras doesn't mean that Dugong should be ranked down at 90 here. I think it just like kind of gets I think it's just basically like with so many good water Pokemon and so many other Pokemon that got buffed, this Pokemon just in the one shield, one energy, like even shield, one shield, even energy scenario, it always sims lower than it should. But that's not how you use it. You use it as like a bulky save swap. You have coverage where like if you're running like an Ice Beam, you may not have any answers for water on Lapras. So this gives you the drill run coverage for like other Pokemon. So I think Dugong is still going to have play. And one I just used, Medi 58. Man, getting to a dynamic punch in 10 is a game. If running Psycho Cut is a game changer on this thing. With stab, 108 damage. And again, whenever you can do like basically 90 and above damage with a 10 turn move, you must be looking at the Pokemon immediately. So to do 108 damage with a stab dynamic punch in 10 turns, when I was playing with this thing, I'm just like, holy crap, these dynamic punches are coming fast and they hit hard despite you having like a crazy low attack and high defense and stamina. You definitely need to be using this Pokemon. So I ran it with Psychic. And what's the trade-off? So if you run it with Ice Punch gives you a bait move on the second, but because Dynamic Punch is so low, I would argue you don't even need this bait move. And then it comes down to what you want your second coverage move to be. So you can use Ice Punch if you want to cover something like Jumpluff and other things like that. Or if you're worried about a Azumarill, just run it with Psychic so you have something for a Azumarill. But yeah, I think Medi is going to be extremely, extremely strong. Okay, I've got 3 overranked. I know a lot of you are not going to agree with me on at least a couple of these. I think Shadow Sableye 5 is overranked. First, let's start with Clodsire. I think Clodsire at number 2 is overranked given the state of the meta. Because now you have, if you're running Sludge Bomb, you got your Mana Buzz as a flyer, you got your Psywave user, Ghost resisting, Psywave user, Ghost resisting poison, Water super effective. So literally every other Pokemon in the top 10 can hit super effective with a fast move, charge move, or resist your Poison Sting Sludge Bomb combo. So for that, I think it's going to play much lower than it's ranked. It's still got everything going for it. It's got its bulk, its Sludge Bomb still spammy, has Earthquake, that hits hard. You still have a lot going for you. But man, against the main meta, which we just established, is going to be very Ghost and some water heavy. I don't know why Clodsire is ranked number 2. So I think Clodsire for starters is overranked. Again, I would still probably put him in the top 10, but probably down. Yeah, like this 13 with Stone Edge is probably closer where I would rank the Sludge Bomb Clodsire. Like I think 13 is probably appropriate rank for just being like how walled you're going to get, not walled, but how much trouble you're going to have with the main meta. So that's opinion number one, Shadow Sableye. Now, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with it. A lot of people love the spamminess. And don't get me wrong, that foul play spam is incredible. And you do get, and what helps you here is you get stab and same type attack. Sorry, and shadow. But I just mentioned, if you're going to go to 10, I want to see 90 or above. It should be an instant. And the fact that you are a shadow and getting stab and can't even get to 90 here concerns me. And this is the problem with my opinion of Shadow Sableye. I've gone over this multiple times before. As a safe swap, you wanted to use regular Sableye because return was better for coverage. If you wanted to use the lead or closer, you use Shadow Sableye. And the reason you use Shadow Sableye last season was because a lot of the times you did not need the 2 foul plays that a Purified would take. Last season, a lot of time, you can just go Shadow Claw, 1 foul play, and finish off with Shadow Claws. You can't do that anymore with the nerf. Now, the pacing was like 14 and 12 last season and straight 10s this season. So if you're now playing out matchups longer, like 3s and 4, like turns, like 30 turns worth of moves or 40 turns worth of moves, then the spam of the foul play is going to come in handy. But now, if you're only going to get like 2 moves off, you're too, like, sometimes the 1 foul play is not going to cut it anymore. So you're going to need 2, and if they have shields, then you're going to be taken down because you already were sort of borderline on bulk. Like you're balanced here, but now you're upping your attack and lowering your defense with the shadow, which means you start taking a lot from these moves. So for me, I think Shadow Sableye is overranked. The reason I actually think it's so highly ranked, is because it sims well against the main meta here, where you are dark, so you resist the Psy Wave. There's a ton of Ghost, and you are Ghost Dark, so you're going to kill those Pokemon. You have Dazzling Gleam for your dark coverage, which is going to be everywhere now too. And Dazzling Gleam is a huge improvement for this Pokemon. That's not debatable. Having 108 damage move, 14 is not the fastest, but not the slowest. And so 108 coverage move is fantastic to have here. So I think Shadow Sableye is probably overranked in my opinion. Again, I wouldn't drop it to like the 40th or anything, but I think it's probably like I personally would rank it in like the 17th and 18th. Which is perfect, because here's 2 Pokemon that I would move down. Jellicent and Claydol. These are the other 2 Pokemon that I think are overranked. Now, I just used Jellicent. The problem with Jellicent is Hex is now faster and hits harder. Great. Again, but the problem is Hex is still not doing much. 2.8 damage per turn is not much, so that's almost a wash here. Hex is charging instead of I think it was at 4, is now doing 4.33. But it doesn't change the spam of these moves enough to offset for your what seems like a lack of bulk, honestly, considering the stat product here. So it felt like I was getting the Hex was doing what it was supposed to do in charge moves. The problem is Shadow Ball did not take out anything. Again, it's a 120 move. 90 damage here for, again, I would like to, if you're a 10 turn move, 90 damage, fantastic. If you're a 12 turn move on the first, 12-9, right? So you can make it up by the second time around, but then third time around, you're back again outside of that 10 range that I like. So I felt like it's just like a little slow there. Not slow, but you just you just couldn't take the damage that I thought you could. And I don't know if I was just so used to using like Dusclops and Corsola that can just really take charge moves. It felt like Jellicent couldn't take charge moves. And the difference was, like, I was used to Shadow Driftblim, but Shadow Driftblim was an Astonish one Shadow Ball, one-shot machine that you just use shield for. Jellicent feels like a weird in-between. It's like, it doesn't hit hard enough to take out Pokemon, but it's not as glassy, but it's not bulky enough to live in the Great League. I think Ultra League is going to be a beast. Someone says I want an Ultra League video. I'll cover Ultra League top teams tomorrow and do like an in-depth analysis of Ultra League tomorrow. Yeah, so for me, there's just like so many other ghost Pokemon I would use ahead of it. Like the first, I would use Sableye, Corsola, Dusclops, Dusknoir, and even, again, like I'd use Annihilate. They play completely different roles, don't get me wrong. They play different roles, but I use like Annihilate. So I do think it's like a top 5 ghost, but I think it's like a top 5 ghost in like the 30-40 range, not the 17 range. But that's just my opinion. And lastly, I know a lot of people will disagree. Claydol. I think Claydol's overranked. And it has nothing to do with its stat product, and has not a ton to do with its moveset. Maybe slightly to do with its moveset. The problem with what I find with Claydol is you don't have any sort of quick bait move. Now, you're bulky enough that it won't matter too much. But your quickest move is 15. And the problem with that is when you start going against Pokemon that have charge moves of 10 or 8, but let's just say 10, they're going to get to 3 charge moves by the time you get to 2 charge moves. And for that, off the bat, doesn't fly with me unless you're something like a Zoom Roll that is like an insane bulky, right? So you're not extremely far off, but like 2153, 173, but pretty low stamina. And then you go to something like a Zoom Roll that could just like withstand, right? 93, 134, 190 for 2387. Because you can withstand these 15 and 18 turns it takes to get to these moves because you got the bulk. It just seems like if your fastest move is 15 for Claydol, that's not good enough for this Pokemon, in my opinion. But that's not even the main issue. The main issue is its typing. And there are 6 weaknesses, and the 6 weaknesses, 5 of them are meta, right? We've seen, again, there's not a ton of bug, but there's enough bug out there. But dark is meta, ghost is meta, grass is meta, water is meta, and then ice will have some coverage there too. So when you got that many weaknesses against the main meta, that does not fly with me. Yes, you have 5 resistances, double resisting electric, and then single rock, psychic, poison, and fighting. And like rock up buff, poison psychic up buff. I think poison, like I said, is probably going to take a slight, actually I said ground, but the poison grounds will probably take a slight decrease because of all the ghosts. And then fighters, if there's less normal typings, maybe there's going to be less fighters. So we'll have to see how that fighting plays out. But yeah, for me, like dark, ghost, water, grass, weakness is just like an instant. Again, I think it can be good. I think it can be good in like 2 shields. Just a little slow on the charge moves, a little slow on the charge moves, and not a good typing. For me, just puts it down to like 30, 40 plus. Oh, I didn't talk about Pangoro. I haven't used it yet, but Gazlord, Pangoro, like I think Pangoro is also gonna be kind of like a core breaker here too. Resisting Psywave, being able to hit super effective against Lapras, Night Slash for your Ghost and stuff like that. So I think Pangoro is going to be an interesting one. But those are my thoughts. In terms of your thoughts, we have Mandibuzz is over. Oh, I guess I should send to this. Mandibuzz is overranked at number 1. Nowhere near the top as a lead, a switch, or closer on PV Poke. Yeah, so how Mandibuzz is ranked so high is, again, its place against the top meta. You know, you have your bulk, you have your spam, so right off the bat you're good. And then now you have a place against Ghost, Dark Ghosts, Psywave users, ground, right? So between just those alone, it has a lot of play against the main meta. So that's why it gets a huge advantage to go on top of with its already like insane bulk, 150 defense, 176 stamina for 2400 overall, and then these just spammy moves. And then again, Dark Pulse feels better on Mandibuzz when you are able to spam it at 12 and just take a ton of damage. So maybe it's not ranked number 1, but I think it is. I think it's gonna be a very strong Pokemon in this meta. Pangoro. Yeah, so Pangoro is severely underranked. It core breaks hard. So kind of like, yeah, Pangoro, Guzzlord. I think there's a lot of Pokemon like that. That would think. John thinks Claydol's ranked perfectly. I think Superior is underranked. Agreed. Again, when it goes against the main meta there, when it has that type of sort of win-loss against the main meta, that is great for me. Yeah, Jellicent disappointed me. Yes, can't seem to take much moves. Grumpig is bulky, can survive a stab Shadow Ball from full health, but doesn't hit hard. Find it somewhat slow. Low Kicks has potential. That's not the first person that's mentioned Low Kicks in my video. So it's ranked 146. It is very glassy, like very glassy, but hits pretty damn hard. And with the stab sucker punch, like that off the bat makes it pretty good. And I think when you're looking for some bug coverage, like having a dark mood for all the ghosts and then having bug for all your psychic Pokemon that are now making a kind of a jump up a little bit, I think gives you some coverage in the main meta there. So maybe low kicks, but yeah, it's really glossy, so you need to offset there. And then yeah, Apex was the one saying I'm testing Charge-a-Bug. Is rank 110, but it could be a solid anti-meta pick with so many water and ghosts. Water, yes. Ghosts actually resist bug. So you'd have to just hit the straight electric on Charge-a-Bug for the ghosts. Because bug is resisted on ghosts. Let me just confirm that. I'm like 90. I was so positive. I'm like 95% sure bug is resisted on ghost. Yes. Bug is single resisted on ghost here. So you'd have to just go straight electric on there. But again, there are psychic Pokemon in Malamar, Grumpig, and Claydol, which are weak to bug. So it does have an answer for that. And then, yeah, all the water Pokemon like Lapras, Feraligatr, again, Jelson, maybe I think are going to probably drop. Glycopod. Glycopod's very, very strong. I think it was yeah, I can't bring it up here. But I think it was like one of the top ranked Pokemon. Let me just try and find it. Even though I deleted my Twitter. I think it was like it had something crazy like 80% usage at the first regional here. But yeah, I forget the different Pokemon Go creators that used to put it out. Yeah, okay. I'll just skip it for now. But yeah, it was ranked pretty high. Actually, Dracoviz may have it. Let me just check it up right now. Because they usually are pretty quick for posting the top. Here we go. Let me just bring it back up. Here is your... Geez. Here are the Pokemon that just dominate like always. But here's the top usage of I think the top bracket players. Dugong, right? Number 90 ranked. Shadow Drapion. So there's two right off the bat that I said are underused, underranked, and they're now in the top. And there's your Charge-a-Bug, right? So there's your Charge-a-Bug coming out there. Oh, geez, sorry. So there's your Charge-a-Bug. Some staples, Azumarill, Feraligatr, Jumpluff, Primeape, Gastrodon. But then there's your Shadow Dusclops. I do think Dusclops is quite strong just to spam this thing. I thought Emolga was way better than before too. So Emolga near the top. Sludge from the Shadow. Weezing definitely hits super, super hard. So yeah, these are some, not surprising that some of these Pokemon have risen. Emolga is going to be like a top electric. Weezing going to be like a top, I think, poison fairy. And then some of your other staples, and then your safe swaps there. And then Dusclops will be a top ghost. So not surprising that this is how used these Pokemon are. And again, I'm glad I didn't even, I didn't actually truly look at this, because I'm like, it just justifies what I thought about Dugong and Drapion being so underranked here. And also, when you don't see Pokemon like Claydol and stuff like that, makes you feel good too. Shadow Sableye down here though on a team here. I'm trying to see if I can like just zoom in on this. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. No, once you yeah, it's one of those weird ones where you can't zoom in. Yeah. Anyways, that's what I think the meta is going to be. So let me know what you think is going to be. Thanks for watching. Drop your comments below if you agree or disagree with anything, and I will see you guys in the next one.